Tyler Reddick's own teammates questioned whether he could carry a Daytona championship run all the way to the end. Not rivals, not media, the people inside his own 23Xi garage. And when Reddick found out, he did not stay quiet. He responded, and what he said changed everything. His own teammates questioned him, not a rival driver looking for a psychological edge, not a frustrated journalist trying to manufacture a storyline, not a fan account running hot takes on social media. The people inside Tyler Reddick's own 23Xi racing garage, the people who share his data, his engineering resources, his race weekends, started questioning whether he could actually carry a Daytona championship run all the way to the finish line. And when that got back to Reddick, he responded, directly, clearly, in a way that nobody inside that garage was expecting, because here is what people forget about Tyler Reddick. He is quiet, he is measured, he does not do unnecessary drama. He does not go looking for conflict inside his own team. He is the kind of driver who processes things internally, keeps his head down, does his work, and lets the results speak. So when Reddick decides to respond publicly to something, you pay attention. Because it means whatever happened crossed a line that he was not willing to let go unanswered. Think about what it takes to get to that point. This is a man who has been doubted his entire career and responded every single time with results. Doubted at RCR, responded with wins. Doubted when he made the move to 23Xi, responded with some of the best racing of his career. Doubted going into this spring, responded by becoming the driver that William Byron himself admitted he had no answer for anywhere. Reddick does not need external validation, he never has, but internal doubt from inside his own team, that is a different animal entirely. Because when your own garage questions your championship run, it does not just affect your confidence, it affects your resources. It affects how engineering decisions get made. It affects where the team's best setups go when there is a choice between two cars. It affects the quiet conversations in the hauler that never make it to a press conference, but absolutely shape what happens on the track every single Sunday. Reddick understands all of this, which is exactly why he did not let it sit. And the response he gave, the way he addressed the doubt coming from inside 23Xi, set a tone inside that garage that everybody felt. You could feel it shift. The dynamic between Reddick and his teammates after that response was not the same as it was before. Honestly, there is a second story running underneath all of this that makes Reddick's response even more significant than it looks on the surface. Because the teammates questioning his championship run did not do it in a vacuum. There is a reason it happened now, and that reason connects directly to everything that has been building inside 23Xi all season. Stay with me because this one goes much deeper than a driver defending himself. Hit like and subscribe because this channel exists for exactly this kind of conversation, the stuff happening inside the garage that never makes the highlight reel. Back to Reddick. Because the response itself was not aggressive, it was not emotional, it was not the kind of thing that makes headlines because someone lost their temper. It was worse than that for the people who doubted him. It was calm, specific, detailed. Reddick laid out exactly what he had done this spring, exactly what the data showed, and exactly why the championship conversation around his Daytona run was not a question. It was a conclusion that the numbers had already answered. He did not raise his voice. He did not point fingers, he just made the doubt look uninformed, and that is a far more devastating response than anger ever could be. Let us talk about why the doubt existed in the first place, because teammates do not question a championship run without a reason. This is not random noise. Something inside 23Xi created an environment where people felt comfortable or felt compelled to raise questions about whether Reddick could actually go all the way. Part of it is the SVG situation. Shane Van Gisbergen came into 23Xi as a world champion. A driver with credentials that commanded respect before he ever turned a lap in a cup car. And the internal dynamic when you have two high-profile drivers sharing the same engineering resources is always complicated. It always creates comparisons. It always creates conversations about who is performing and who is not, and what that means for where the team's energy goes. SVG's COTA situation, the cheating scandal investigation, the leak from inside the garage, the chaos that followed, put enormous pressure on the entire 23XI operation. And when a team is under that kind of external pressure, internal cracks tend to appear in places that were never supposed to fracture. The questioning of Reddick's championship run is one of those cracks. It did not come from a place of genuine doubt about his ability. It came from the pressure cooker that 23XI became after COTA. People inside that garage were stressed. They were managing an investigation, managing a furious world champion, managing media questions they did not have clean answers for. And in that environment, somebody started asking whether the championship narrative around Reddick was real or whether it was momentum, that the situation had already started to quietly erode. Reddick heard it, and he was not having it, but here is what nobody is talking about yet. The fact that Reddick responded the way he did, calmly, specifically with data, tells you something about where his head is that goes beyond this one internal conflict. It tells you that Reddick has been preparing for this moment. Not this specific moment, not teammates questioning him specifically, but the moment where the season gets hard and everyone around him starts to wobble. Great champions do not just prepare for competition, they prepare for doubt. They build a version of themselves that can absorb the doubt from rivals, from media, from their own garage, and convert it into something that makes them faster rather than slower. Reddick's response was not just a defense of his championship run. It was a demonstration that he is mentally in a place that championship drivers need to be in during the hardest part of a season. That should terrify every other team in this garage, because a Reddick who is confident and clean and running fast is dangerous. But a Reddick who has been doubted by his own teammates and responded by getting more focused rather than more distracted. That version of Reddick is the most dangerous thing in NASCAR right now. The hot take here is this: the teammates who questioned his championship run may have accidentally done the most important thing anyone has done for Reddick's season. Because nothing focuses a competitor like having to prove something to the people standing right next to them. Not rivals, not media. The people in the same building, that is the fuel that does not run out before November, and Reddick just filled his tank with it. Here is where the championship picture gets real. Tyler Reddick going into the second half of this season with a point to prove inside his own garage. That is a storyline that has championship written all over it. History is full of drivers who found an extra gear when the doubt came from a place they never expected. And Reddick already has the speed, the team, and the results to back it up. But there is a complication that the response does not fully resolve. 23XI is still managing the SVG situation. The investigation is still open. The internal trust issues that came from the lake are still raw. And now, layered on top of all of that, there is a documented internal conflict around whether Reddick's championship run is real or manufactured narrative. That is a lot for one team to carry into a summer stretch that decides playoff positioning. The best teams in NASCAR are the ones that eliminate noise before the playoffs begin. They close internal conflicts fast. They make decisions about resources and priorities clearly. They create an environment where every person in the building knows exactly what they are working toward and exactly who they are working for. 23XI has not done that yet. The SVG situation is unresolved. The leak is unresolved. And now the internal questioning of Reddick's championship run, even though Reddick responded, leaves a residue. Because a response does not erase the fact that the question was asked. It does not erase the fact that people inside that garage looked at Reddick's Daytona championship run and decided it was worth questioning rather than worth protecting. Reddick knows this. He is smart enough to know that his response addressed the surface, but not the foundation. And the foundation question is this: Is 23 Xi Racing genuinely unified behind Tyler Reddick as their championship driver right now? Or is there a version of this team that is still figuring out its own internal hierarchy while the season moves forward without waiting for them to sort it out? The answer to that question matters more than any single race result between now and the playoffs. Because championship teams are not just fast, they are aligned. Every person in the building pulling in the same direction with the same driver at the center of everything they are building toward. That alignment is what turns regular season speed into postseason results. Right now, 23 Xi has the speed. The question is whether they have the alignment. Reddick's response was the right move. It was strong, it was clear, it drew a line. But drawing a line inside a team that is already dealing with a cheating scandal investigation and an internal leak is not the same as resolving the underlying problem. The underlying problem is a team that has too many fires burning at the same time, and championship runs do not survive teams that are fighting on too many fronts simultaneously. Reddick can win this championship. The spring proved that. William Byron proved that when he admitted he had no answer for Reddick anywhere. The data proves that every single week. But can 23 Xi get themselves together fast enough to be the team Reddick needs them to be when October arrives, and every mistake gets magnified, and every crack in the foundation becomes a canyon? That question does not have an answer yet. And the fact that Reddick had to respond to doubt from inside his own garage means the clock on finding that answer is running faster than anyone at 23 Xi wants to admit. So tell me what you actually think. Does Reddick's response to his own teammates silence the internal doubt and pull 23 Xi together for a genuine championship run? Or has too much happened inside the garage this season for this team to be fully unified when it matters most? Drop it in the comments right now, because this debate is exactly what this channel is built for. And if you have watched this 23 Xi story unfold from the very beginning, you already know this is the only place where the full picture gets told. Hit like. Leave your take below and subscribe, because what happens next inside that garage is going to define the entire 2026 NASCAR season, and we are not going anywhere.